Thanks very much, Len, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I think I should start off by saying something along the lines of deeply concerned citizens of Australia, because we are deeply concerned about what is happening right across the country. It's New South Wales, it's Queensland. We're copping the brunt, and the Victorians are getting the eye as well. Couple of apologies from my President, Graham Healy, and Deputy President, Dr. Steve Robinson. They can't be here because we really have our valley under siege. We have got AGL there, who have had approved 110 coal seam gas wells. We have already had some fracking of those wells, to my knowledge, and of course at this stage we have Federal Minister Burke, who has got them filling 36 extra conditions, we think. We're still studying that. We still don't understand all of the implications, but at first pass it does not look like we are going to be particularly happy. We have also an existing mine who came there back in the early 90s. They were called Gloucester Coal. They've turned into a Chinese state-owned enterprise called Yancoal, and they want to go 24/7. Again, not happy about that. When they first came to us as a small company run by, I think it was Nobel Resources out of Hong Kong, we were told, now wait for this, we were told that we are getting a boutique mine. Don't you love that? It's like a boutique turd. You're going to get a boutique turd. And we're going to give you jobs. So in exchange for this boutique item, we would get some jobs. You can drive the water cart. Of course, the big money goes back out of not just the region. Some of it sticks to the state government by way of royalties, but the majority goes back to the overseas investors. It's big money, big capital that takes out the wealth of the land. I'm going to have a couple of points about the health damage that's going, some remarks about the health damage and a little bit of background as well as AGL. I know that my fellow speaker Melissa will be looking at health risks as well, but really it's about risks from water contamination, air contamination, noise, and also what I think you would call psychosocial stresses, where people are just plain worried. I heard our previous speaker say something like, we're in limbo. That's right, we're in limbo. You can't sell, you can't get out. Your biggest resource is your house or your property, and you're stuck. You're at the mercy of these people. Of course, we've had health damage impacts highlighted for us, and places like Tara in Queensland, they have a CSG field, and the community there are reporting a variety of health problems that we've also had arise in the US. Southern Cross Uni in Tara measured the methane there and found a 3-fold increase in the methane level. Now, I don't think that that's very good for you. It's worrying. It's alarm bells ringing. Of course, you good people here have protested against AGL expanding what they're doing here, and good on you. You need to do that. The 2 kilometre buffer zone. Now there's another thing. 2 kilometres, yes, but does the gas or the methane or the water contamination say, uh-oh, there it is, 2 kilometres, I stop. I don't go any further. What a crock. It doesn't work that way. They don't know where it's going to go. They can make predictions, but they don't know. They are not sure. And unless they're sure, they should not proceed. There is a thing called the precautionary principle. If you're not sure, don't do it. These characters have been operating along the, we'll let you know what we're going to do when the thing goes wrong. You know, the management that happens after it goes wrong. Well, that doesn't work. That doesn't wash. Now, some of us have seen gas emissions coming out of some of the areas that we have in Gloucester through boreholes that we've had there beforehand from the coal mine. We've had puddles where we believe that methane is coming out. And these things are suggesting connectivity between groundwater and surface water. I mean, the groundwater, surface water situation is awful to the extent that we are going to have all of this produced water. That's the stuff that comes up from deep underground. You can put it into a bunded dam, perhaps with plastic that might last for a period of time, but then what do you do with it? Millions and millions of litres of produced water that you can't do anything with. I have heard suggestions that they will shandy it by mixing it with other fresh water so that you reduce its level of toxicity. But at the end of the day, it's still toxic. We also have salt. Salt as a result of this, if we do actually evaporate it. What are you going to do with millions of tonnes of salt? This country's saline already. We have trouble with the farming on that particular note. So toxic poisons, carcinogens, they're in the diesel fumes as well, pumps and vessels. And what about those connecting roads that you have to have? They're not going to be sealed. They are going to be affected by the water that runs down them, and the water goes into your catchment. It happens in the catchment area. So at the top of our list of concern for AGL are the impacts on surface and groundwater. The basin we're in is complex. It's marked by faulting and shearing. I was interested to hear Andrew Stoner on the 7:30 report, New South Wales, on the 22nd of February say, I wouldn't want a CSG well 5 metres from my property. It's going to affect my property value a hell of a lot. Nobody is going to want to buy my piece of land, and there's always the potential for something to go wrong. So out of the mouths of politicians, we have that. We've had a scientist, Philip Pells, look at what was done by way of a study in our area. They studied 0.75% of the area that was going to be affected and said, well, now that applies to the whole lot. Again, totally inadequate. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a call to action here. It is a continuation of these turnouts. Ring your local member. Call Tony Burke's office. Get your mobile out. I'll give you his number. You can call him in Canberra. 6277 4052. And again, I echo the words of our previous speakers who said no ifs, no buts about Mr O'Farrell protecting the water. He reneged. He was, as one of your own down here said, somewhat flexible with the truth. It's time to hold these people to account. We have a federal election coming up. I think it's time to ring your local politicians and indeed other significant politicians and say, what's your position on this? Because at the moment, completely inadequate. Thank you very much.